What is up, YouTube? It's Kingfisher745, and by now I'm sure you've guessed it, this video is going to be all about the man without fear, Daredevil and his brand new alternate costume. This new costume is actually Daredevil's original costume, and I really like the look of it. But before you can unlock this, of course you have to complete 100% of Season 2, Chapter 3. For me, the very last part of this chapter was the remaining task. So once I completed this, I gained a few other rewards as well. First off, I got 10 command points, and then I received 5 gold. And that's in addition to the gold that I just received earlier as well. Most importantly, I unlocked the original Daredevil costume in both Scrapper and Tactician. And you'll get the same exact thing as soon as you complete 100%. Now basically the only thing that this costume has that the default costume doesn't is Master Assassin. So I have to admit this is pretty underwhelming. I really wish there was at least one more passive on the new costume. Also, the Master Assassin ability is already on Elektra's costume, so it's really not unique to him at all. I would definitely have to place this costume as the third best release so far. Heroic Age Iron Fist and Uncanny Cyclops were much better rewards. But looking on the bright side, Daredevil is a pretty awesome character, and now we have access to him in the Tactician class. So this will open up a number of interesting possibilities for team-ups. In this first battle, we're going to be using him in his Scrapper form, and we got pretty lucky. We're going up against an Infiltrator Phoenix. Also in this season, you'll quite often face an empowered Infiltrator agent. So having a Scrapper can come in really handy, and the new radar sense makes all of your attacks stealthy, so you'll have no problem hitting an Infiltrator even if there's a Protector. One really nice thing about hitting an Infiltrator with Daredevil is the fact that he'll do a follow-up attack with the Billy Club. It has pressure points, so he's going to put a couple of those Paragon Exploiter debuffs on the opponent, and hopefully on the follow-up he'll put even more. And if that wasn't enough, he even has internal bleeding. So he has Master Assassin, he has stealthy attacks once you use his radar sense, and he has internal bleeding. So who does that sound like? That sounds exactly like Elektra. This makes them a pretty obvious team-up, and they can do quite well together. But I really do love the team-up with Mockingbird, and I think you just saw why. Daredevil set up Mockingbird perfectly to finish Phoenix. Now she did proc Death and Rebirth, so we're going to have to try the kill her with our agent. We definitely don't want her to cast Phoenix Fire, but we do have our agent, and then we have Mockingbird again if needed. But it looks like our Warbringer Axe is going to do the job, so we don't have to worry about wasting Mockingbird's turn. Their agent uses the scroll, so I'm glad we took advantage of those debuffs while we still could. Then he uses the Seduction, and I've never seen that used before, so that was pretty interesting. Once I saw Mind Control, I knew my agent was going to take an attack. And he does right away. He takes a twin strike. So that was pretty unfortunate, but at least Daredevil's up next. And we're going to use a Billy Club to start setting up their agent. Both Daredevil and Mockingbird's level 9 take advantage of Paragon Exploiter. So that's one of the reasons why this is a pretty good pairing. Now with our agent, we're going to cast the Light Fantastic from the cube. And that's just to ensure that we heal our team, and then the next hit against them will heal them. Next, I just wait and see what their agent uses. I really am not sure what he has. Alright, so he uses the Protector of Attilan. And then let's see what else. The Sinister Sceptre, so I guess this is kind of an old school team. Going back to Phoenix, Kitty Pryde, and then the Scepter. But it doesn't quite work out the way it used to, so it's nowhere near as powerful. Also, Kitty Pryde is out of phase, so we'll just go ahead and focus her while he's in astral form. And already at this point, she's set up for Daredevil's level 9. So I'm really interested to see how much damage we can do. Paragon Exploiter and Deadly Crits is a really nasty combination. So it allows me to do 76,000 damage and an epic overkill. Not bad for a level 10 Daredevil with no empowered ISO 8. Then with our agent, we're going to use the Blackest Void to hopefully take him out of phase. But he just uses Sinister Sceptre again. So that does prolong the battle, but there's pretty much nothing he can do at this point. We're just going to go ahead and pass our turns. and then on our agent's turn we'll use the improbability field. So I guess we are going to get robbed of an epic overkill finish, but that's alright, as long as we get the win. So anyways, in the next battle we're going to be using the tactician version of this new costume. And I think that costume should work pretty well in this season, since there are so many Blaster Thors. Sadly, we don't come up against any here, but this should be an interesting battle. I really like the combination of Heimdall and Omega Sentinel. Luckily, we do get first action, so we're going to exhaust their team. And I know exactly what that's going to do to Heimdall's turn. He's going to use his quick action Vigilance, but this time his turn will be over since he's exhausted. So that's really good for our team since he won't be able to use his level 9 as well. The other great benefit of Plasma Spheres is that now there are Paragon Exploiter debuffs on the entire enemy team. This gives us a chance to use Daredevil's level 9 to pretty good effect on his very first turn. So let's check our enemies and see who has the most Paragon Exploiter debuffs. And it looks like it's going to be their agent. Remember, this attack has deadly crits, so if it does crit, it'll do so much more damage. And that's why when we use the Empowered ISO weight that applies Street Fighting, it'll cause his melee attacks to have a higher chance to critically hit. Unfortunately, he needs to be a level 13 to use that with this alternate costume. Now with my agent's attack, we're going to go ahead and hit that Scrapper Omega Sentinel with the Mystic. This will place Obsolete Tech on her. This debuff actually locks out a number of her abilities. For example, her Defense and Nano Heal Array are both tech moves. So this probably explains why she's using Penetrator Darts. And right after this counterattack, even on her second turn, you'll notice that Obsolete Tech shows again, and she uses Penetrator Darts. So the Mystic comes in really handy in limiting characters like Omega Sentinel. Now with Havoc, of course we're going to use Plasma Spheres once again, because we need to put those debuffs back on the opponents. So we go to use that level 6, and Heimdall just says no. Then he uses his level 1 on Daredevil, and I do have to note that I've never seen that Master Assassin proc. Now I'm not saying that it doesn't proc, but I've used him quite a bit now, and I haven't seen it a single time. So it may just be bad luck, but that's quite disappointing because I expected it to be really high. Because oftentimes, whenever you get something new, the proc rates are really crazy. But like I said, so far that hasn't been the case. But anyways, with Havoc, we took that opportunity to finish their agent. And that's usually a pretty safe bet. If you have an opportunity to KO the enemy agent, you usually want to jump on that. The agent is kind of the wild card of the team. On our agent's turn, we use the Light Fantastic rather than the Mystic, so this is going to allow Omega Sentinel to cast her abilities normally. This includes Plasma Blast, so she may be able to hit our agent pretty hard on her next attack, assuming we don't knock her out with a counter. And we missed the first hit, so we had no chance of that. It didn't crit and it only did 8,800 damage, and the reason for that was because she didn't have enough Finest Hour buffs. So we lucked out that we didn't get hit with that move right after Heimdall's level 9. And now Heimdall's going to use Vigilance, and then Gjallarhorn. So turn order definitely helped us out on this one. Next we get all 3 characters and we should be able to finish this battle. Assuming we don't get stopped by Eternal Vigilant. Well actually, we're just going to use these turns to go ahead and set up Heimdall instead. So let's use our level 6, because we haven't seen Snap Kick yet. I'm also using this to place Fumbled on Heimdall, because I believe he's going to use Ho Fund on his next turn. So hopefully we'll get to see that kick in. It also does a pretty decent crit, and causes Hobbled. Now on our agent's turn, we're going to use Quick Reflexes. Then we debated using Improbability Field, but instead we're going to use Blackest Void and remove all those buffs. Now Heimdall's Ho Fund won't do nearly as much damage, and we can use our level 6 Plasma Spheres to hopefully set up a big finish to this fight. Now when our opponent tries to attack, you see Fumbling pop up, and he uses Ho Fund just as we thought, but we had off balance on Daredevil unfortunately, so we didn't get to see a counterattack. But we are going to get to use his level 9 on Heimdall, who has a few Paragon Exploiter debuffs. And we do a 29,000 no crit hit, So that's actually pretty impressive, but it really makes me wish we had Street Fighter. With that empowered ISO weight, I could just imagine how many big deadly crit hits we would get. Now in this last battle, we're facing that really popular team this season, Thor and Quicksilver. And we're teaming up Daredevil with Cable, who works out really well with him. Cable of course provides extra turns, he has an ability that has pressure points, he places flanked on the opponent, and he has Paragon Exploiter himself on his level 1. So Daredevil gets to go first for a turn. They do have a blaster Thor. What we're going to do instead is we're going to hit their Quicksilver with his level 1. There are multiple reasons for this. 1, we don't want to give their Thor War Frenzy when he's going to get an attack off. 2, when their Thor does use Summon Thunder, that's when we're going to gain our tactical maneuvers anyway. And 3, we're hitting Quicksilver because internal bleeding bypasses Mystic, and it's always good to put bleeds on Quicksilver. After we remove Mystic Shroud with the Scroll of Angelob, then we can start hitting other characters like Thor, and hit him with those pressure point abilities, that way we can place those Paragon debuffs. And by the way, of course I love Cable for those extra turns, that way I can do more attacks. But also, if Cable gets to go first, he can use that on your agent and allow you to use the scroll. That will in turn help you remove Mystic Shroud that much earlier in the combat. So that's just another little reason why I love Cable. Since we already got our turn with our agent and used the scroll, we're free to use his Temporal Shift on Daredevil to give him an extra attack. So that's the very first thing that we'll do. And then next we can decide whether to switch over and use Cable's Pressure Points ability, or if we should just go ahead and put Flanked on Thor. I'd say the best decision is to use Ascani Arts and place Flanked and Targeted on Thor. So let's go ahead and hit him with that ability, and it does land and place those amazing debuffs on Thor. We also got a collateral damage proc, so that's pretty nice as well. Now it's going to be Daredevil's turn, and he'll get multiple attacks, and he also has Flanked. So we will use his Snap Kick, and then he's going to do a Billy Club. That should put us in a good position to use his level 9 on our very next turn. I highly doubt that Thor is going to live past this turn, because we do have that Flanked as well. Alright, so let's see what kind of damage this can do. It does 33k, which isn't our biggest hit by far. We do gain tactical maneuvers as well. So 3 attacks in a row for our Daredevil. And we're going to use that Snap Kick. We want to put Fumbling on their agent, as well as Hobbled. So now with our agent, we're going to use the Light Fantastic just to heal our team and ensure that no one dies. And alright, I admit, to set up a Paragon Exploiter finish, hopefully. The enemy targets our agent and does a really big heal due to Mirror Reality. And how do we thank him for that? We hit him with a Brawl. Well, he actually dodges it. Now on Cable's turn, we're going to switch to Techno-Organic Overdrive, and we'll show you that ability I was talking about. It's level 6, it's called Techno-Organic Rampage, and it has pressure points. So let's see what debuffs we place on the opponent. We get Weakened and Exposed. We also got a Collateral Damage proc. So this is going to allow us to hopefully finish the battle with Daredevil in his alternate costume. And right after we use this level 9, it will be the end of the video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you liked the first look at Daredevil in his alternate costume. Later this week, I plan on having a more official Daredevil alternate costume review video. It should be similar to the Heimdall character review, so stay tuned for that, you won't want to miss it. Lastly, I want to thank you all for watching, and ask you to please like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more videos. Until next time, good luck and take care.